All right, Jims and Johns of the world. Today I want to get the Evo daily driver status ready, at least closer, or for the most part. I got my OEM new e-brake shoes from Mitsubishi in. I got the new idle air control valve in and some other stuff that we're going to be knocking out on the Evo. I'm going to try to figure out that wiring issue for the gauge cluster. I really don't want to have to go, I just want it working. I just freaking want it working. So before we get into the Evo stuff, I have a couple things that I want to talk to you guys about and show you, because we got the biggest turbo I've ever seen in my life in for the STI. Well, this is at least the biggest turbo I've ever bought. This is the new turbo for the STI. This is a Precision 7675 with a Sportsman's cover on it. And let me tell you, Daddy-o, this thing is massive. 5-inch inlet, 4.2-inch outlet, T4 divided, V-band out, the whole kit and caboodle with this thing. It is ball bearing. This is a very expensive turbo. This is the most expensive car part I think I've ever bought in my life. As a comparison, here's a stock VF39 that the car originally, or VF48 that the car originally came with. Dude, the thing is, this turbo could literally eat that turbo for a snack. Dude, it's insane. I am so curious to see what this sounds like, how much power this thing is going to make, and what it's going to do. The STI is also jumping up to ID 2600 injectors, so fueling, turbo, nothing will like keep us from making power this time around. We need to take that over to the shop here in a little bit. But first, I want to, what do I want to do? I'm gonna do that second, that's easy. I want to knock out these rear e-brake shoes real quick. This is what's dragging on the rotor as I'm driving, and that's what I'm hearing. It's not the brake pads themselves, it's the actual like noise from here. So let me get the rear end of this thing jacked up. I'm just gonna put on jack stands right now. I could toss it on quick jacks, but I really don't care to, so I just want to get these swapped out. I gotta do both sides. I'll probably have Matt come down and help me because it's like a two-person job for some aspects of it, but let's go ahead, let's tear it apart. Well, not tear it apart. Oh, I gotta finish these also. This one's going, remember that Hawkeye that overheated and kind of died? This is the new engine going in that one, and then afterwards I have to build that one for that white STI out there. I just took the plastic wrap off that thing. I gotta rewrap it right now, but oh, so many Subaru engines. I kind of need you to be my daily, and I'm kind of looking forward to it, to be honest. Yeah, I wanted to show you guys this. Matt has the rotor right here. For these e-brakes, these little shoes guys right here that hold those on are a real pain in the ass, but you can see inside of the rotor that the e-brake was 100% dragging on the rotor, and that is 100% the sound that we were hearing when driving it, because it sounded like straight up poop.
It sounded bad.
It sounded real bad. And that is the only logical cause. I mean, we can see the scraping on the inside of the rotor, so we know it was the rotor. These are now OEM Mitsubishi e-brake shoes. I don't know if it's because these Duralast ones over here have like all these tabs on them and everything like that they're not supposed to. Because you can see on the OEM ones, there's no tabs or anything. They're just like normal shoes. Plus, I think the pad thickness on this is too thick where it was rubbing on the inside of the rotor. So kind of dumb. We have one more brake shoe to put on this side, adjust both of them, and then e-brake shoes should be done. Then we can jump onto tossing on the idle air control valve to hopefully fix the idle on this thing. So that way I can just actually start driving it, because this was probably the biggest holdup keeping me from driving the car, was the fact that the e-brake shoes were dragging on the e-brakes. Fast forward a little bit, e-brake shoes are swapped out. We also found another potential reason why we were hearing the sound, which was the dragging. The dust shield back here was riding on the rotor on the back side of this. You can't see it anymore because the caliper's back on and whatnot, but we got the dust shield bent back out of the way again, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. If it does, we know this where the sound is coming from. New e-brake shoes, so I haven't even checked them yet, to be honest. Come back here and beautiful. If you're gonna do e-brake shoes, man, don't do what I did. Just go OEM. It's the smarter decision. So sick. Now that those are on there, let's get these wheels back on. Let's get it back on the ground. Let's swap out to our new idle air control valve and hope that this fixes our issues. I was told that these are super hit or miss, so I'm hoping it's a hit. That's all I want is a hit. New idle air control valve is installed, blow off valve, intercooler piping, all that stuff's put back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing started, pull it out of the garage for a little bit, let it idle, get up to operating temp, and then we'll try playing with that basic idle set screw again and see if that changes anything, so that way we can get our idle dialed in. Hopefully this fixes the problem that we were having of the high idle, and hopefully that brake issue is solved also. After that, it's just figuring out the dash lights and then just fixing the rest of the stuff on the car, like the windshield, getting it aligned, adding all the other tiny little splash guard stuff back on here. So sick. Let's get this thing started up real quick. Well, our friendly Evo over there, it's pissing me off. The dumbest reasons. Shelled out the money, just ordered an OEM idle air control valve. I 2-day shipped that, so hopefully that should be here early next week. I'm getting tired of its problems. I'm just saying a Subaru wouldn't do this to me. So I'm not quite sure where I left off last night, but we're ditching the Evo. We're going over to the shop to work on the Subaru. I'm gonna go get the spare motor put in there and kind of get that turbo mocked up to see where I want to put it. This way, by getting that spare engine in there, we can go ahead so we can start wiring, we can start fabrication. There's a local fabricator who I reached out to who we haven't worked with before, who I'm kind of excited to work with. So he's gonna be coming out in a couple days to check out the car, so I need to go get that engine in there. With the Evo, I ordered a new gauge cluster. There's a local place that can match mileage from my cluster over to this new one. I genuinely think the cluster is the problem, so because all grounds are there. Everything is where it's supposed to be, it's just not working. So I found one on eBay for like 300 bucks. It's in decent condition. Swing over to the shop, let's go work on the Subaru. Let's go get an engine put back in there. You know, part of me really doesn't want to blow this car up. Kind of enjoy the WRX. Also, you're able to fit a whole engine stand in your car if you ever wonder. Alright guys, so we made it over to the shop. The lighting right now is like super freaking bright. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bust out the other EG33 I have, get it on the table behind me. I'm just gonna loosely assemble it, so it's not gonna have every head bolt, and they're not gonna have every case bolt. I'm literally just using this engine as a mock-up engine. I've got maintenance coming today to install 220 in here. We just got put on the wait list for a 2-post lift for in here, which will also be nice. So let me bust out that EG. Let's get it assembled real quick, and then I have to reassemble the engine stand because I completely took it apart to fit it in the WRX. So got an engine to fit in here and a turbo to mock up. And since we have 220, we can start welding and fabricating all the stuff. Sick! So I've got this thing just loosely tossed together. I've got a couple case bolts in it. I've got a couple, they're not even head bolts. They're case bolts that I'm using for the head. Like I said, this is just a spare engine that I'm using for mock-up. It's really nice to be able to have this one because if you guys remember last time, I didn't have 2 EGs, I only had the one, so I couldn't really do what I'm doing now before. Now since I have the spare motor, we can go ahead and do all this stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and wheel the engine crane back here, get this thing off the table. We're gonna slide it up to the front of the car up there. I'm gonna toss the motor mounts on this thing, and then we're going to get this thing back in, well, it's never been in the car, but we're gonna get this one in the car. How high does this go? I actually might have to pick this thing up somehow. Okay, back this up. Alright, I'm gonna get the front end on this thing jacked up real quick. Toss motor mounts on here, get this guy in. Hell yeah, daddy-o. Let me tell you, this is the only engine belongs in these cars. So now that I've got this spare EG loosely mounted up, I'm gonna go ahead and start mocking up a lot of the other stuff while I have it on jack stands, because I want to take it off jack stands. I'm gonna go under the car, I'm gonna toss on the exhaust manifold, the up pipe and whatnot, get that stuff kind of mocked up. I want to see if the turbo that I have will fit in that location. I don't think it will. I think what we're gonna end up having to do is push the turbo back here more. I think I'm gonna have to get a new fender and then move this fender exit up more near the headlight area a little bit. It's whatever, it's a fender you can use for like 200 bucks. So I'm not, or we can get carbon fiber fenders. I don't mind cutting into some carbon fiber fenders and moving this guy up. That would be pretty dope, right? That'd actually be really sick. I'm down for that. Let me know what you guys think. Carbon fiber fenders for this thing or what? Or just leave it the paint matched blue. Not once have I ever done something to a vehicle where I'm like, this is fucking absurd. This is I draw the line of absurdity here. This is fun. This is stupid absurd. I love it. Absolutely love it. Look at this shit, dude. It literally fits. It drops right in and fits. I don't think there's much modification I have to do at all to make this. Like, I obviously can no longer have a headlight, and I obviously have to redo the cold side of the intercooler piping, but what in the shit is this, dude? What? That is the biggest f***ing turbo I've ever seen on a car. And now seeing it like with the exhaust, I want to see with the intake manifold and everything like that on there. Dude, I'm honestly surprised that it just f***ing drops in and fits. That is insane. So before we had our downpipe go from 3" to 3.5 inch, this is gonna be full 3.5 inch out. And I'd like to cock the turbo a little bit more, just to rotate it a little bit. So that way the inlet is kind of facing more like over here. So that way the exhaust can just like straight shoot out of the fender, like right up here. I think if we do that, I'll be able to retain a headlight, but with where the turbo's at right now, there is no way in fucking hell we are having a headlight fit in there. That's just not gonna happen. But dude, oh my fucking God, it fits. Dear Lord. I'm gonna get the intake manifold, the power steering pump, all that kind of stuff bolted on here loosely, just so that way I can kind of reference turbo and what all we need to do to make everything fit properly. But that is f***ing gnarly. That is wild. I don't care what you have to say. That's gonna hurt feelings. The new fuel system, V2 is gonna be f***ing wild, dude. I cannot wait. Let's get all of our accessories bolted up real quick. I have legitimately just been standing here staring at it. I miss it. I miss my car so much. And I can't wait to have it back again. Bro, seeing it with the intercooler back on, the intake manifold, everything just kind of lining back up again. Just seeing the turbo in here alone gets me so freaking pumped for this thing. I need to get a new turbo blanket for this because there's absolutely no way in hell my old one is fitting on that. The intercooler piping does need to be reworked, but for the most part, technically we don't have to rework the exhaust manifold because everything kind of lines up perfect. Like, it's a real tight fit between the turbo and the frame right here. So I mean, I can fix that. I can just kind of trim this whole inner edge away that we're not using right there. For the most part, if we really wanted to, we could just run, we could just build another downpipe 3.5 inch going all the way out. But I think I do want to go to the extent of removing this fender, moving this guy up closer to where the headlight would be, and have the dump be up here versus back here, just to get it away from that tire, because that is one thing that kind of sketched me out about how we had our old setup. But dude, oh my God, I can't wait. It's so much money though. But it is time for Tanner's shameless plug of the day. So if you guys haven't seen yet, we have the new merch drop out. We are doing another giveaway for you guys, but this time it's a little bit different. Instead of giving you guys a built engine, what we're doing this time is we're gonna have 2 winners. Whoever gets first, or whoever the first drawn person is gonna get a $2,500 gift card over to Rally Sport Direct. That way you can go buy whatever you want for your car, whatever you need for your car, versus me just being like, here's an engine, take it or leave it kind of thing. This way you can get wheels, you can get turbo kit, you can get turbo, you can get whatever you want, fuel system stuff. It is all up to you. Second winner is going to get a $500 gift card over to Rally Sport Direct, so that way you guys can pick and choose what you want to snag over there. So, and all the proceeds from this merch drop are going into fixing this thing, so that way we can get it back on the road. So if you guys want to see the STI back on the road a little bit sooner, these drops are really how to do it, because this is what funds a lot of the stuff. Like, yeah, YouTube pays a decent amount, but really the merch drops help the most. So if you guys want, there is a link down below in the description for you guys. Go snag yourself some stuff. We got some new stuff. This one is not, I mean, we have this color and a different design on there, but this is like a one-off one that I decided. There's more. Go check out the website. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. I've been wearing the new merch for the past couple of weeks in some of the videos. So if you guys want, like I said, down in the description below. So what I need to start doing now is getting out the old engine harness. Like I said, we are no longer going to be using this harness here, as we have a new one that I am making. What is happening here? Oh, this is for the radiator fans. So I'm gonna go in the car, start disconnecting the Haltech and everything like that, getting out the old harness. There are some wires that run behind the dash. There's some that run under the kick panels, to the back, to the fuel pumps, to the relays back here. So I'm not gonna fully like remove those. I'm gonna snip them. And then when it comes time for us to run our new harness, which I have back there, we kind of know what already goes where. And doing it this way is kind of cheating. It's not cheating, but it makes things a hell of a lot easier, because of the fact that that Haltech harness that we have in there, I already have it set up in the software, so I know where all these wires go at this point. There's no more guessing and checking. I can go into the software, I can say, all right, this sensor gets these wires, this sensor gets these wires, so on and so forth. So I don't know if I'm gonna get the whole harness out today. I'd like to, but let's start pulling harnesses out. Changed my mind. I'm gonna hold off on doing electrical for now because I did this last time that we did this harness. Was I jumped the gun and I started to like tear apart electrical, do harness stuff before I had everything. I have a lot of stuff here for the electrical system, but I don't have it all. And I'm gonna hold off and just do it all at once. It's logical and it makes the most sense. So I'm gonna leave this harness in for now. I'm just gonna tuck it out of the way. I'm gonna cut the engine side of the harness out so that way I can just use it as reference. As soon as I have everything, then we're gonna jump on electrical. I still need to buy like a mil-spec firewall connector, the Canon plugs, because we're gonna be running a Canon plug so that way I can actually disconnect the engine harness from the engine versus having just a loom of wire feed through the firewall. It's gonna take a lot more time, but I think in the end it's gonna be a lot cleaner and I think it's gonna be a lot better. So this is really all I wanted to do at the shop today, was get like this stuff in the car so that way the fabricator can come out, check it out, be like, all right, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do. I'm pumped, dude. Dude, just seeing it gets me so pumped. And I just miss the sweet sounds that this car would make. That thing is gonna whistle like a motherfucker. I can tell you that right now. That turbo is gonna be so goddamn loud. And I was curious, and I'm sure some of you guys are curious because I didn't think it would. Will the hood still shut with this massive turbo here? Because you can see, dude, it protrudes out pretty far. Surprisingly enough, yes. The hood still shuts somehow, and there's still room up in there. I don't get it. We just have so much room. That right there is a really good sign. So I think I'm gonna head back to the house. I ordered the V-band flange for this and the V-band for the turbo itself. I need to order the V-band for the cold side right here. The intercooler piping, the coupler that used to be right here, we're swapping to a Vangent clamp. I already have that one here. I think I'm gonna step this side of the intercooler piping up. This, I believe, is 3-inch right now, and we're gonna jump that up to 4-inch, so it'll be 4-inch in, 3.5-inch out. I believe this is 3.5. 3.5-inch out, actually, you know what, we'll just keep it 3.5 because this will go to a 3.5 piping, so it'll just be 3.5 to 3.5. That'll just make the most sense. So sick, dude. I'm freaking pumped. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup and then we're gonna jet out of here and go back to the house. We have made it. We have returned. We are back in our domicile. So with the STI, I'm gonna get more electrical stuff ordered tonight. I think I'm gonna get the rest of the fab stuff ordered tonight for the cold side of the, or for the hot side of the intercooler piping to get that thing going. Honestly, I just want the car back on the road. I haven't heard anything back from Outfront yet, so I'll shoot them a message on Monday. I've kind of just let them do their thing with it, so it's not a huge rush. I'm like on the fence of contemplating selling the Evo to finish the STI, because it's not gonna be cheap to finish the STI, and I don't want, the STI is my baby, okay? That's my car. That is like, that's my baby. I like the Evo, but to be honest, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm like teetering on the fence of selling the Evo to finish the STI. I don't know yet, but that's all I got for you guys in this video. So if you guys are pumped to see the STI stuff starting to come back again, go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, one of these corners, my man, no idea which one I'll put it in quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies. Whoa!